The Galactic Council chamber was one of the quietest places in the entire galaxy. It was a huge round hall made of dark metal, filled with glowing symbols and floating screens. Every sound echoed, every movement felt important. Here, the leaders of 19 advanced alien civilizations met to discuss peace, danger, and the fate of planets. But today, something different was happening. Today, fear was sitting in the room. Counselor Arith, an old and wise alien covered in silver-blue scales, stood at the center of the hall. His eyes, normally calm, were filled with worry. Around him, the other council members whispered nervously. They were waiting for the arrival of a powerful and dangerous species, the Vora Dominion. When the doors opened, the temperature in the room felt colder. The Vora delegation entered proudly. Tall, armored, and confident, they walked with heavy steps as if they owned the galaxy. Their leader, General Vornak, stood in front. His eyes glowed red, and his voice was sharp like metal scraping stone. "You called us," Vornak said. "So speak. But make it quick." Counselor Arith slowly stepped forward. "We have brought you here for a final warning," he said. Vornak laughed loudly and the sound shook the chamber. "A warning? For the Vora? From you weak creatures." Arith did not react to the insult. Instead, he pressed a glowing symbol and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed something surprising, a small blue planet. "This world is under threat," Arith said. "Your fleets are moving toward human territory. You must turn them back." Now the Vora delegates looked confused. "Humans?" Vornak said. "These primitive apes? Why should we fear them?" Arith took a deep breath. "Because they are not what they seem." A silence spread across the hall. Several council members lowered their eyes. Others shifted uncomfortably. Humans? A name that brought silent tension even among the strongest species. Vornak noticed it. He smirked. "Look at you," he said. 19 great civilizations, afraid of humans. Tell us, Counselor, why?" Arith spoke slowly. "Because humanity evolves too fast. Because they learn too quickly. Because every threat makes them stronger." He pointed to the hologram. "And because if the Vora attack them you will not win. You will only wake something dangerous." The Vora leader shook his head and laughed again. "We have conquered empires. We have destroyed worlds. And you warn us about a species who only left their planet 100 years ago." Arith looked him straight in the eyes. "You do not understand humans. And that will be your downfall." Vornak stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Tell me, Counselor, what are you hiding? What secret makes you tremble?" Arith hesitated. His hands shook. Then he finally spoke. "The Council once tried to control humanity. We failed. They defeated us, with technology they built in secret, technology far beyond their age." He paused. "And that was when they were still weak." The Vora seemed surprised for a moment, but only for a moment. Then Vornak shrugged. "Your fear is pathetic," he said. "We will crush the humans. The galaxy will see the power of the Vora Dominion." He turned around, ready to leave the chamber. But Arith raised his voice loudly for the first time. "Vornak, if you go forward with this attack, the Vora Dominion will fall. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. Humanity will make you pay." The words echoed through the chamber like thunder. Vornak stopped. For a moment, the entire room waited for his reaction. Then he slowly turned his head and smiled, a cold, cruel smile. "Let humanity try," he said. And with that, he walked out of the hall, followed by his silent warriors. When the doors closed behind them, the entire chamber felt as if it could finally breathe again. Arith sank into his chair, exhausted. One of the council members whispered to him, "Why warn them? They will not listen." Arith stared at the hologram of Earth. "Because we did our part. The galaxy will know we tried." Another member asked quietly, "What if humans find out the Vora ignored the warning?" Arith looked even more worried. "Then the Vora will suffer. And the council might suffer too." Across the galaxy, far away from this council hall, humanity listened secretly from a hidden outpost. They had intercepted the council's message about the Vora attack. But unlike the council members, they did not panic. They did not argue. They did not beg for peace. They simply prepared. Lights turned on inside a massive underground base. Engines woke up. Weapons powered on. Dark ships rose like shadows from the Earth's surface. A human commander spoke quietly, almost calmly. "So they chose war. Let's show them why the Council fears us." And somewhere in the dark of space, the Vora fleet began moving toward Earth, completely unaware of what was waiting for them. This was the beginning of something the galaxy would never forget. This was the moment they ignored the warning. And this was the moment humanity decided to make them pay. While the Vora Dominion moved confidently toward human space, another story began far away, deep under the mountains of Earth where sunlight never reached. Here, hidden from the galaxy, was Project Helios. Most species believed humans were still young, still learning space travel, still building basic colonies. But that was the lie humanity allowed the galaxy to believe. In truth, humans had spent the last 100 years creating something no alien species understood, a level of technology far beyond their age. And none of it was shown to the Galactic Council. Inside the Helios bunker, a long room filled with screens, glowing maps, and silent workers buzzed with quiet tension. Engineers moved quickly, checking systems. Soldiers in dark armor stood waiting. Every face was calm, too calm for a species the Vora believed to be weak. Commander Rhea Morgan walked into the room. Her face was sharp, serious, and focused. She looked at the large screen showing the Vora fleet moving closer every hour. "How long until they reach our defense line?" she asked. A young officer replied, 22 hours, Commander." Rhea nodded. "Activate the Helios Protocol." Everyone in the room froze for a moment. The Helios Protocol was humanity's most dangerous plan, used only when extinction was possible. "Are you sure?" the officer asked. "The Council warned them." "Maybe." Rhea cut him off instantly. "They ignored the warning. The Vora want war. So we give them war." She pressed her hand onto a glowing panel. A deep alarm echoed through the entire bunker. Doors opened. Armored suits powered on. Giant machines woke from their sleep like metal beasts. Across the room someone whispered, "The galaxy thinks we are weak. They have no idea." And they truly had no idea. Hundreds of years ago, humans faced something worse than any alien enemy. A deadly plague almost wiped out their species. During that dark time, humanity changed. They adapted quickly. They found solutions faster than any other species could imagine. Their brains evolved to survive under pressure. They learned to turn every threat into an advantage. That was humanity's real power, not just weapons, not just machines, but the ability to become stronger every time something tried to destroy them. This evolution created the foundation for Project Helios, technology the Council once tried to ban. But the ban came too late. In another hidden chamber, deep under the bunker, a massive black ship rested on a platform. Its surface looked like liquid metal. Its engines were silent but glowing softly. This was the Helios-class dreadnought, the most powerful ship humans ever built. Not even the Council had seen it. A scientist approached it, running her hands along its surface. "Soon," she whispered, "the galaxy will learn what humans can do." Far away in space, the Council watched the Vora fleet move closer to Earth. Panic grew inside the chamber. No one wanted to speak it out loud, but they all knew the truth. The Vora had made the biggest mistake of their existence. A council member whispered to Arith, "We must warn the humans again." Arith shook his head. "They already know." He paused. "And they are already preparing." Another asked, "Should we try to stop the Vora ourselves?" Arith closed his eyes. "No. If we intervene, humanity will see it as interference. And they may turn on us." His voice shook slightly. "You have never seen humans fight when they feel threatened. But I have." The chamber fell into a heavy silence. "Then what happens now?" someone asked. Arith looked toward the stars. "A storm is coming. And the Vora will be the first to be destroyed." Back on Earth, Commander Rhea walked along a balcony inside the Helios bunker, looking down at hundreds of soldiers preparing for deployment. They moved with discipline and quiet determination. Humans did not fear war. They prepared for it. A voice came from behind her. "You think they still underestimate us?" Rhea turned. It was Admiral Cole, old, experienced, and respected. His eyes were calm, but there was something dark behind them. Memory, perhaps regret. "The Vora think we are weak," he said. "Because we let the galaxy believe it." Rhea nodded. "And now? Now they will learn the truth." He pointed at the screen showing the Vora ships. "They broke the balance. They attacked without thinking. And soon they will pay the price." Rhea asked quietly, "Do you think the Council will try to stop us?" Cole shook his head. "No. The Council fears humanity more than they fear the Vora. They know what will happen if they interfere." He looked around at the glowing equipment, the massive dreadnought, the soldiers ready for war. "For years we hid our strength," he said. "We played weak because the galaxy was not ready for who we really are." He faced Rhea. "But now, the time for hiding is over." Rhea breathed deeply. "Helios activation is complete," someone announced. "All ships ready for launch." The bunker lights changed to a deep red glow. Engines began to shake the ground. Rhea gave the final order. All forces, prepare for contact. Humanity rises. The dreadnought lifted slowly into the air, its power humming like a growing storm. Far away, the Vora fleet moved forward, confident and unprepared. They had no idea what was about to happen. No idea what they had awakened. And no idea that humanity's revenge would be something the galaxy had never seen before. The Vora Dominion fleet entered human space with full confidence. Their ships were massive, dark, and covered in sharp armor. Each vessel looked like a floating fortress. Thousands of soldiers prepared for battle, expecting an easy victory. General Vornak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Fury. He watched the map on the holoscreen as his fleet crossed into the first human colony zone. "Any human ships?" he asked. "None, General," his officer replied proudly. "Exactly as expected. They hide like insects." Vornak smirked. "Then we crush their colonies one by one." The Vora ships moved forward, ready to attack. Explosive cannons armed. Boarding teams prepared for invasion. But something strange happened. One of the officers frowned at a flashing symbol. "General, the human colony ahead, it is not evacuating. No escape pods. No defense signals." He looked confused. "They are calm." Vornak hissed. "They have accepted defeat. End their misery." He raised his hand. "Fire." A bright red beam shot from the Vora flagship toward the human colony. It hit the surface, shaking the land. Buildings collapsed. Dust rose into the sky. The officers smiled. But then, "General, incoming signal." "From the colony?" "No, from behind us." Vornak turned. A single human ship appeared on the edge of the battlefield. It was small, much smaller than a Vora cruiser. It looked like a scout ship, simple and unthreatening. The Vora warriors laughed. "That tiny thing? Is this humanity's answer?" Vornak's lips curled. "Destroy it." Several Vora cannons fired at the human ship. But something impossible happened. The human ship vanished. Not exploded. Not damaged. It simply disappeared, like a shadow fading. A second later, it reappeared behind the Vora fleet. "What?" a Vora officer shouted. Before they could react, the human ship fired a thin blue energy beam. It was silent, almost gentle. But when it touched a Vora cruiser, the entire cruiser split in half. No explosion. No fire. Just a clean, perfect cut, as if sliced by an invisible blade. Everyone on the Vora bridge froze in shock. What weapon was that? It's impossible. No species has that kind of power. Another officer stammered, "General, that ship, it is not on any council records." Vornak slammed his fist onto the console. "Find out what that thing is. Now." But the human ship did not wait. It moved again, faster than any Vora engine could track. Left, right, behind, above, its movements were too sharp, too perfect, almost like it could read the Vora fleet's reactions before they even happened. One by one Vora cruisers fell. Not with explosions, but with silent cuts and broken armor. Each strike precise. Each strike deadly. "General," an officer shouted. "We are losing ships. 20 already gone. No, 30. In less than 5 minutes, the Vora Dominion, the empire known for its brutal strength, was being shredded by a single human vessel the size of a transport shuttle. Vornak's eyes widened with fear. This cannot be human technology, it must be stolen, or alien. But deep inside he knew the truth. The humans were hiding something powerful. Something the Council feared. Meanwhile, far from the battle, Counselor Arith watched the fight through secret surveillance channels. His hands trembled as he saw the human ship in action. "So, they finally deployed a Helios-class unit," he whispered. The other Council members stared at the screen in horror. That small thing destroyed a Vora battleship in seconds. It moves faster than any known engine. Those weapons, the Council banned technology like that centuries ago. Arith said nothing. Because there was nothing to say. The truth was clear, humanity had advanced far beyond what any species expected. One member whispered, "If this is only one ship, what else do they have?" Arith closed his eyes. Enough to change the galaxy. Back on the battlefield, the Vora fleet was in chaos. Ships crashed into each other while trying to escape. Officers shouted orders no one followed. Panic spread. Vornak, furious, yelled, "All ships, fire everything you have." Thousands of weapons shot toward the human ship. And yet, not a single hit landed. The human ship danced through the fire like a shadow in the wind. Then the human ship broadcasted a message. A calm, cold human voice filled the Vora flagship. "You were warned." Vornak clenched his teeth. "Show yourself. Who are you?" The voice ignored the anger. "You attacked our colonies. You ignored the Council's warning. Now you face the consequences." Vornak roared, "We are the Vora Dominion." "You will." The voice cut him off. "We know who you are. Soon the galaxy will know what you are." Then the communication ended. In the silence that followed, the human ship began charging a bright blue energy orb at its front. The orb kept growing, bigger, brighter, hotter. Officers screamed. "General, that weapon. We cannot survive a direct hit. Our shields are failing." Vornak stared at the growing light, fear finally breaking through his arrogance. "What have we attacked?" he whispered. The blue orb launched. A wave of light tore across the battlefield. Dozens of Vora ships disappeared in an instant. No explosion. No debris. Just silence. The first strike of humanity was complete. And the Vora Dominion finally understood. This was not a war. This was a punishment. The ruins of the Vora fleet drifted silently in space. Hundreds of ships that once represented power, fear, and domination were now nothing more than dark, broken metal floating in the void. And the battle had lasted less than 15 minutes. The lone human Helios ship turned away, its blue lights fading as it vanished into hyperspace. It had completed its mission, a warning strike. But it was only the beginning. Far beneath Earth, the Helios bunker was filled with the sound of alarms, engines, and rushing footsteps. The ground shook as giant hangar doors opened for the first time in decades. Commander Rhea Morgan watched rows of massive human ships rise from their hidden shelters, ships the galaxy never knew humans possessed. The largest one stood in the center. The Helios Prime, a dreadnought so enormous that even mountains looked small beside it. Its hull was made of shifting black alloy. Its engines glowed with silent white light. Dozens of weapon towers along its sides hummed quietly, radiating power so intense that nearby metal surfaces vibrated. A soldier walked up to Rhea. "All systems are online, Commander. The Helios fleet is ready." Rhea nodded. "Begin Phase 2. Heavy machinery roared. Launch towers lifted. Energy cores awakened. Hundreds of ships across multiple secret bases prepared for departure. These were not ordinary ships. They were designed during humanity's darkest age, when they thought extinction was near. And they were built with one goal: to end any threat that dared to challenge them. Admiral Cole approached Rhea, watching the ships rise. "You think the Vora understand what's coming?" he asked. Rhea shook her head. "They have no idea." She tapped the control panel. "Open the galactic channels. It's time to send a message." Across dozens of star systems, holographic screens flickered to life. Alien civilians, soldiers, and leaders looked up as a human emblem filled their displays. A cold, clear voice spoke. "This is the United Human Defense Command. The Vora Dominion has launched an attack on our colonies. We will respond." The message lasted only 10 seconds, but the impact was massive. For the first time in history, humanity announced war. And the galaxy trembled. In the Galactic Council chamber, panic spread like wildfire. Counselor Arith stared at the message replaying on the central screen. He felt his heart sink deeper with every word. They are mobilizing the Helios fleet," he whispered. Other members gasped. "The Helios fleet? Are you certain? That project was only a rumor. We believed it was impossible." Arith closed his eyes. "It was never a rumor. Humanity has been preparing for centuries." Another council member shouted, "We must warn the Vora to retreat. They cannot win this war." Arith responded quietly, "It is too late." He pointed at a star map. Human fleet signatures were appearing everywhere, hundreds of them. The galaxy had never seen so many ships launch at once. Meanwhile, General Vornak stood inside the Crimson Fury, which now floated damaged and alone. Emergency lights flickered. Fires burned in nearby halls. Half his crew was missing or dead. His officers gathered around him, faces pale with fear. One of them said, "General, we must pull back. This is not a normal human fleet. We cannot face them." Vornak struck the officer across the face. "We are the Vora Dominion. We do not run." But deep inside, even Vornak felt something he had never felt before. Doubt. If a single human ship could destroy half his fleet, what could hundreds do? Suddenly, a bright flash erupted outside. Another officer shouted, "General, new contacts." Everyone turned toward the viewing window. And their hearts froze. Human ships, Dozens of them were emerging from hyperspace surrounding the remaining Vora vessels. But these were not small scout ships. These were war monsters. Slick, silent, deadly. Energy cores glowing like stars. Weapons humming with cold blue light. Hull surfaces shifting like liquid shadow. The Helios fleet had arrived. A human broadcast came into the bridge. Vora Dominion. This is Commander Rhea Morgan. You attacked us first. Now face the consequences. Vornak growled, You dare threaten us with your toys? Rhea's voice stayed calm. This is not a threat. This is justice. The human fleet activated their weapons simultaneously. A blinding wave of blue energy lit up the battlefield. The first row of Vora warships exploded instantly. Others tried to escape, but the human ships moved with impossible speed, cutting off escape paths, disabling engines, slicing ships apart with precision strikes. Every move was perfect. Every shot was fatal. Every second, another Vora vessel fell. Vornak's officers screamed, General, our shields are melting. Our weapons cannot lock on them. We are surrounded. In less than 2 minutes, the remaining Vora fleet was destroyed. Only the Crimson Fury remained, barely holding together. Commander Rhea spoke again. General Vornak, you ignored the Council's warning. You attacked innocent humans. Now you will answer for your crimes. Vornak shouted. You cannot defeat the Dominion. We are. But his voice trembled. He knew the truth. The Dominion was already defeated. He was speaking to the species the Council feared. A species that built power in silence. A species that grew stronger with every threat. A species no empire should ever provoke. Humanity. And this was only the beginning. The battlefield was silent now. Only the broken pieces of the Vora fleet floated through space. Flames flickered on shattered hulls. Sparks jumped from torn metal. The once proud Dominion ships, known across the galaxy for their brutality, now looked like nothing more than dying shadows. Inside the Crimson Fury, General Vornak stared at the destruction with wide, shaking eyes. His pride, his confidence, his arrogance, everything was gone. He could barely breathe. How is this possible? He whispered. No one answered. Most of the officers who once stood proudly beside him were either dead or wounded. Those who were alive were terrified, staring at their screens with trembling hands. A young officer broke the silence. General, we cannot win. Our weapons cannot track their ships. Our engines cannot escape. Our shields are failing. We must surrender. Vornak turned and glared at him, rage burning. Vora do not surrender. But his voice cracked as he said it. Even he no longer believed his own words. Before he could speak again, a new light appeared outside the window, bright, cold, and growing larger. The human fleet had repositioned itself. Now they were preparing for their next move. Meanwhile, far across space, the Galactic Council was in chaos. Screens showed the live battlefield. Vora ships bursting like fragile glass. Human ships moving with deadly precision. Counselor Arith covered his face with his hands. It has started, he whispered. All these years, humanity hid this power. And now every species will see it. Another council member pounded the table. We must do something. If humanity continues like this, they will destroy the Dominion completely. Arith shook his head. This is not our war anymore. Humanity gave the Vora a chance to retreat. The Vora refused. Now they face the cost of their pride. One council member whispered, Do you think the humans will stop after the Vora fall? Arith didn't answer. Because the truth was frightening. He didn't know. Back on the battlefield, alarms screamed inside the Crimson Fury. Systems failed one after another. Electrical sparks rained from broken panels. Smoke filled the bridge. General, an officer said, choking on smoke, we are receiving a message from the human flagship. Everyone held their breath. The screen flickered and a calm human face appeared, Commander Rhea Morgan. Her voice was steady, cold, controlled. General Vornak, your attack on our colonies is recorded. Your crimes are known. Vornak forced himself to stand tall. His voice shook, but he tried to hide it. You humans, you think one victory changes anything? The Dominion will rebuild. We will return. We will. Rhea interrupted him. No. You won't. Her words hit harder than any weapon. Vornak's throat tightened. Do you plan to destroy us all? He asked. Rhea leaned forward slightly. We plan to make sure you never threaten humanity again. Vornak felt a cold fear spreading inside him, a feeling he had never known in all his years of battle. The Vora Dominion was falling, and humanity was pushing it over the edge. Outside, the human fleet began to move once more. Their ships spread out in a perfect formation, surrounding the last Vora vessel. Hundreds of blue energy orbs powered up, glowing brighter and brighter. A human officer on the Helios Prime reported to Rhea. "Commander, all weapons locked on target." "Your order?" Rhea looked at the screen showing the heavily damaged Crimson Fury. For a moment, she remained silent. Her crew waited. Then she spoke. "Hold fire." Everyone paused, confused. "Commander? Are we sparing them?" Rhea did not answer immediately. Instead, she sent a new broadcast to the Vora flagship. "General Vornak, you have one chance. Order your remaining fleets to retreat from human space. Now." Vornak stared at her. "You expect us to obey humans?" Rhea's eyes narrowed. "No. Not expect. Demand." She activated a command on her console. A signal pulsed through space. A moment later, every surviving Vora ship received the same message Rhea sent. "Retreat or be erased." The officers on Vornak's bridge panicked. "General, if we do not retreat, the humans will destroy us all. We must respond. They have us surrounded." Vornak stood frozen. He had a choice. His pride. Or his species. His voice broke. "Fine. Send the order." A trembling officer sent the retreat signal to all Vora forces across the region. "It is done," he said. Rhea received the confirmation. She exhaled slowly. "Good. You chose survival." The Helios fleet lowered their weapons but did not leave. Instead, Rhea issued one final warning. "If the Dominion enters our space again, we will not give a second chance." The Vora crew hung their heads in silence. Rhea ended the transmission. Back on the Helios Prime bridge, Admiral Cole approached Rhea. "You hesitated before giving the order?" he said. Rhea nodded. "I did. Because this was not just a battle. This was a message." Cole crossed his arms. "To the Vora?" Rhea shook her head. "No. To the entire galaxy." She pointed at the battlefield. "We showed them what happens when someone threatens humanity." Her eyes hardened. "And now, the galaxy will never look at humans the same way again." The turning point of the war had arrived. And nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light waves. Every channel, every station, every communication relay repeated the same message. The Vora Dominion has retreated. Humanity has won. At first, people refused to believe it. The Vora were known for their cruelty, their endless armies, their unstoppable fleets. They had conquered dozens of species. They destroyed entire planets. But humanity had defeated them, not with luck, not with tricks, but with power the galaxy had never seen. Soon, every species watched the battle recordings. Human ships moving like shadows. Weapons slicing through Vora armor as if it was paper. A single human fleet destroying an empire's pride. Shock spread. All followed. And then, fear. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, the atmosphere was heavy. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the grand chamber, but no one spoke loudly. Everyone whispered cautiously, glancing at each other. At the center, Counselor Arith stood at a holographic display of the battlefield. "We have confirmation," he said. "The humans did not destroy the Dominion completely. They forced a retreat instead." Some counselors sighed with relief. But others looked even more nervous. Counselor Vesha clicked her claws anxiously. "So they show mercy? Or is this a warning?" Arith's face was unreadable. "A warning," he replied. "A very clear warning." Another council member rose from his seat. "They destroyed an entire Vora battle group without losing a single ship. If they can do that to the Dominion, they can do that to anyone." Fear rippled across the room. A council elder muttered, "Are the humans becoming the new threat?" The question echoed across the chamber. Meanwhile, back on Earth, celebrations exploded in every city. Fireworks filled the sky. People danced on streets. Parents lifted their children high, telling them, "Remember this day. Humanity stood against an empire, and won." But inside the Helios Command Center, there was no celebration. The atmosphere was calm, serious, focused. The commander's new victory came with a price. Rhea Morgan entered the conference room where a dozen high-ranking officers were gathered around a round table. Admiral Cole nodded at her. "Welcome. The council has requested a meeting." Rhea raised an eyebrow. "A meeting? After ignoring our warnings for years?" Cole gave a faint smile. "Now they know they shouldn't have." Another officer leaned forward. "They aren't calling us to congratulate us. They're calling us because they're terrified." Rhea sat, folding her hands. They should be. The room fell silent. At the same time, in the heart of Vora space, chaos ruled. General Vornak stood before the High Dominion throne. The Emperor of the Vora glared at him with burning red eyes. You retreated, the Emperor growled. You, our greatest general, ran from humans. Vornak dropped to one knee. Your Majesty, we had no choice. Their fleet was beyond anything we imagined. The Emperor roared, slamming his fist. There is always a choice. No, Vornak said, looking up. Not this time. The room fell silent. The humans have changed, Vornak continued. They were once weak, divided, slow. But what I saw was power. Pure power. If we provoke them again, the Dominion will fall. The Emperor's expression changed. Fear. Uncertainty. For the first time in centuries, the Vora Dominion didn't know what to do. Back in the Galactic Council, the debate grew louder, more desperate. A reptilian delegate slammed the table. We must unite. Humanity's technology must be restricted. Another shouted, what if they attack us next? Councillor Vesha hissed, then we will be wiped out, just like the Vora. Arith finally raised his hands. Enough. Silence returned. Arith looked at all of them, his voice slow and serious. The humans gave the Vora mercy. They did not wipe them out. That is important. A small creature squeaked, why would they spare such an enemy? Arith answered, because they want to send a message, not to the Vora but to everyone. He zoomed the hologram out, showing the whole galaxy. A species that can destroy the Dominion, but chooses not to, is sending a warning. He pointed at the human territories. Do not attack us. Do not challenge us. Do not interfere with us. A deep silence followed. The councillors finally understood. This wasn't just a battle victory. It was a political weapon, one more powerful than any fleet. On the Helios Prime, Rhea prepared for the council meeting. The screen lit up, showing dozens of alien faces. Councillor Arith spoke first. Commander Rhea Morgan, on behalf of the Galactic Council, we acknowledge humanity's impressive military capabilities. Rhea could almost hear the fear behind the words. Arith continued carefully, we wish to maintain peace between our species. Rhea nodded slowly. Peace is good for all of us. Councillor Vesha leaned forward. But we must discuss limits on. Rhea's expression hardened immediately. Humanity is done accepting limits placed by others. The chamber fell silent. She continued. For centuries humans were treated as weak, as lesser, as expendable. Those days are over. The councillors shifted nervously. Human space will remain human, Rhea said. And anyone who threatens us will face the same fate as the Dominion fleet. Arith swallowed. We understand. Commander. Rhea ended the meeting. Outside her window, she looked at the stars. A new era had begun. One where humanity was no longer prey. No longer ignored. No longer underestimated. They had defied the galaxy. And now, the galaxy feared them. The galaxy had changed. Everyone felt it, from the smallest mining station to the largest alien capitals. The stars themselves seemed quieter, as if the universe was holding its breath. Humanity's victory over the Vora Dominion was not just a battle won. It was a clear message. Humanity had risen. And nothing would ever be the same. Across thousands of worlds, broadcasts replayed the last transmission of the Vora retreat. Shattered ships drifting. Burning engines fading. Human cruisers watching silently, almost coldly as the mighty Dominion pulled back in defeat. Different species reacted in different ways. Some celebrated. Some panicked. Some prayed. But almost everyone whispered the same question. What will the humans do next? In the center of the galaxy, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. The chamber was full, but no one dared raise their voice. Fear filled the air like smoke. Councillor Arith stood at the center, looking tired. This is not the same humanity we once knew. A massive armored alien growled from behind him. They were primitive. They were weak. Now they can destroy empires. A bird-like councillor flapped its wings nervously. If they decide to conquer the galaxy, we cannot stop them. Arith shook his head. No, humanity does not want control. Councillor Vesha hissed softly. Then what do they want? Arith stared at the hologram of Earth. Freedom. Safety. Respect. They want to live without threats. Another elder spoke shakily. And if someone threatens them again? Arith answered with a heavy voice. Then the galaxy will burn. Silence washed over the chamber. No one argued. No one disagreed. Because deep down they all knew it was true. On Helios Prime, humanity's new capital of power, Commander Rhea Morgan walked through a long glass corridor. Outside the window, the human fleet floated like giant silver wolves guarding their territory. Engineers worked on new starships. Scientists tested new weapons. Soldiers trained day and night. Humanity was preparing, not for war but for a future where no one dared to attack them again. Admiral Cole joined Rhea at the window. "The Council is scared," he said quietly. "They should be," Rhea replied. Cole folded his arms. "What about the Dominion? Our scans show their fleets are gathering again." Rhea shook her head. "No. They are rebuilding out of fear, not strength. They won't attack. Not after what they saw." Cole looked at her with a strange expression. "And if they ever forget?" Rhea smiled, a cold, confident smile. "Then we will remind them." Far away, deep inside the ruined Vora capital, the Emperor of the Dominion stood on a balcony. He looked out over a broken world, his world, still recovering from the human counterattack. His generals remained silent behind him. "Speak," the Emperor growled. General Vornak stepped forward. "Your Majesty, our analysts have confirmed something." The Emperor turned slightly. "Say it." "The humans spared us." The Emperor clenched his jaw. "You call this mercy?" Vornak shook his head. "No, Your Majesty. This is not mercy, it is strategy." The Emperor narrowed his eyes. Vornak continued slowly. "They wanted us to live. They wanted us to remember. They wanted the entire galaxy to see what happens if someone challenges them." The Emperor exhaled sharply. "So they are not conquerors." "No," Vornak said. "They are guardians. But guardians with teeth sharper than ours." The Emperor leaned on the railing looking at the stars. "Humanity has become the monster we feared." Vornak corrected him gently. "No, Majesty. Humanity has become the monster the galaxy created." The Emperor said nothing. And for the first time in Vora history he felt small. Months passed. The Galactic Council voted on a new decree, the most important law in galactic history. Arith announced it to the public. "Humanity is hereby recognized as a Class Omega civilization, a species with unmatched military, technological, and strategic power." No one cheered. No one protested. Everyone simply accepted it. Humanity was now a superpower, the kind that could end wars before they even began. On Earth, people lived normal lives again. Children went to school. Families laughed. Cities thrived. But above the skies, massive defense stations orbited quietly watching the stars. Humanity was peaceful, but ready. Rhea Morgan stood on the deck of the Helios flagship, looking at the endless stars. A young officer approached her. "Commander, the Council has sent a formal peace agreement." Rhea nodded. "Good. The galaxy needs peace." The officer hesitated. "Do you think they fear us too much?" Rhea looked at him, her voice steady and calm. "Fear is not bad. It keeps the wolves away from the door." The officer nodded slowly. Rhea turned back to the window. "The galaxy now understands. We are not their prey. We are not weak. We are not silent." She raised her chin proudly. "We are